Hi fashion lovers, let me share with you all how I made this trendy fitted collar dress that you see me wearing here. With just a yard and a half of micro fabric, I was able to achieve this beautiful dress that you are seeing here. Watch to the end to learn the simple steps on how to make this collar dress and also how to eliminate your darts. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like, comment and share with your friends. And if you are new to my channel, thanks for stopping by. So guys, let's get started. To start off with this video tutorial, I'll be using this pattern paper to cut for both the front and the back pattern, okay? And on my pattern paper here is the shoulder line, the bust line, waistline, hip line and the hemline, okay? And from the shoulder line to the bust line here is 10 inches. To the waistline here is 15 inches. And to my hip line here is 23 inches, okay? Down to my pattern paper hemline here is 40 inches, okay? And the actual dress length is going to be 46 inches. So I'll be making use of the whole pattern paper length here, okay? And to draft for this stylish dress, I'll start off by taking my shoulder measurement, okay? My shoulder measurement of 16 inches divided by 2 is going to give me 8 inches, which is this point here, okay? Then from my shoulder point, I'm going to move down here by 1 inch to take my shoulder slope. And from my shoulder slope point, I'm going to move down here by 8 inches to take my armhole length, okay? And this line here serves as the chest line, okay? Then the next thing to do here is to take the front and the back neckline width, okay? So for my neckline width, I'll be taking out 3.5 inches, which is this point. Then I'm going to connect it to meet my shoulder slope point. Also, coming over to my armhole line here, I'm going to get my midpoint, okay? 8 inches divided by 2 halves is going to give me 4 inches, which is this point here. Then I'll be moving in here by 1 inch, which is this point here, okay? So the chest line, I will be dividing my bust circumference, and my bust circumference of 34 inches divided by 4 is going to give me 8.5 inches, which is this point here. Then I'll be adding 1.5 inches hemming allowance, okay, which is this point here. Then I'm going to connect these 3 points together to create the front armhole curve, okay? So guys, can you see what I have here? Then the next thing to do here is coming over to the bust line here. I'm going to take out my bust palm or my nipple to nipple measurement, okay? So my nipple to nipple of 8 inches divided by 2 is going to give me 4 inches, which is this point here, okay? Then I'm going to take it down to the hip line. Then take a straight line. Now the next thing to do here is to take out the dart, okay? So to the waistline here, I'll be taking out 1/2 inch from both sides of my nipple to nipple line. Coming over to the bust line here, I'll move down here by 1 inch, which is this point. Then from the waistline, I'm also going to take the skirt part that length, okay? From the waistline, I'll move down here by 5 inches, okay? This point here is for my dart, okay? Then I'll go ahead and connect my dart legs. So guys, can you see what we have here? To the bust line here, I'm going to move down here by 1 inch, okay? Then from the center, from the side front of my dress pattern, I'm going to connect it to meet my 1 inch marked point, which is this point here. So guys, this is for the side dart, okay? And this is the waistline dart, okay? Then the next thing to do here is to take my basic body measurement. So to the bust line here, my bust circumference of 34 inches divided by 4 is going to give me 8.5 inches, which is this point here. Then I'll be adding 2 inches hemming allowance, okay, which is this point here. This 2 inches is together with the dart space, okay. To the waistline here, my waist circumference of 28 inches divided by 4 is going to give me 7 inches, okay. So my dart space here is 1 inch plus my 1 inch hemming allowance is going to give me 2 inches. So I'm taking 2 inches hemming allowance here, okay, at the waistline. Down to the hip line, my hip circumference of 37 inches divided by 4 is going to give me 9.2 inches, which is this point here, okay. Then I'll also be adding the 2 inches hemming allowance, which is this point here, okay. Also, down to the hemline, I'm going to measure what I have here at the hip line. So what I have here at the hip line is 11.4 inches, okay. So I'll be taking my 11.4 inches at the hemline, okay, which is this point here, okay. Then I will be subtracting 1.5 inches because this is going to be a pencil dress, okay. So I'll be subtracting 1.5 inches, which is this point here, okay. Then I will go ahead and connect my marked points. So guys, can you see what I have here, okay? Then I'm also going to extend my seam line to the chest line. Then the next thing to do here is to take our neckline length for both the front and the back pattern, okay. To the shoulder line here, I'll be marking for my back neckline, okay. For my back neckline, I'll be moving down here by 1 inch, which is this point, still leaving my tape. For my front neckline, I'll be moving down here by 2 inches, okay. Can you see what we have here? Then I'll go ahead and cut for my neckline. So this is for the back and this is for the front, okay. The same applies to the armhole. This is for the back and this is for the front, okay. So guys, I'll go ahead now and cut this out, okay. So we'll be cutting out firstly for the back pattern. Remember, while cutting for the front pattern, we are going to take out our side dart. We are going to eliminate the side bustier dart, okay. So guys, I'll use this now to cut for the back pattern, okay. And I'll be using 1.5 yards of this crepe fabric for this video tutorial. So guys, here I went ahead to arrange my pattern on my fabric. Then I took out 1.5 inches for my zipper allowance, okay. Then the next thing to do here is to take the actual dress length, okay. The actual dress length here is going to be 46 inches. We are cutting for the back pattern, okay. So I'll go ahead now and cut this out. And after cutting for the back pattern, this is what I have, okay. Then let's go ahead and cut for the front pattern. And to cut for the front pattern, here on my pattern paper, I went ahead to trim out the front neckline together with the armhole and the side bustier dart, okay, just the way you see me doing it here in this video. So guys, this is for the front pattern. Then I'll go ahead and cut it out on my fabric. And I went ahead to arrange my pattern paper on my fabric just the way you see me doing it here. And after arranging, I went ahead to measure out my dress length of 46 inches, which is this line that you are seeing over here. Then the next thing is to cut it out. And after cutting, this is what I have for my front pattern, okay. The next thing to do here is to fix my back pattern dart. Okay, so here this is the wrong face of my fabric. Okay, and here is the right face of my fabric. Okay, so at the wrong face of my fabric, I'm going to measure from shoulder to my waistline, or to the half length is 15 inches. Okay, which is this point here. Then I'm going to draw a straight line across this point. Then the next thing to do here, I'm going to take out 1.5 inches for my zipper allowance. Okay, then from my zipper allowance point, I'm going to measure out 4 inches, which is my boss palm point, which is this point here. Okay, to create my dart from my boss palm point, I'm going to move up here by 10 inches. Okay, then from the waistline point or my boss palm point, I'm also going to move down by 5 inches, which is this point here. Okay, then the total length of my dart is 15 inches. So I went ahead to draw a straight line across my marked points. I'll also go ahead and take out 1/2 inch from the both side of my boss palm line as to create my dart legs, just the way you see me doing it here in this video. Then I will take this to my sewing machine to sew for my dart. Okay, the same applies to the other back pattern. So guys, after stitching up my back pattern dart, this is what I have. Can you see my back pattern dart? Then I've gone ahead to fix my zipper. Okay, can you see my zipper? Also to the shoulder line of my dress pattern, I've gone ahead to stitch up together with the front pattern. Okay, can you see my dress pattern? And I've also gone ahead to pin up the side seams. Okay, the side seam of my dress pattern. Can you see the front pattern? I've gone ahead to insert my dart. Okay, the next thing to do here is to mark out our seam allowance. Okay, to the bust line here, I'm going to retake my basic body measurements. Okay, so to the bust line here, my bust circumference of 34 inches divided by 2 is going to give me 17 inches. Can you see my 17 inches point? Then I'm going to measure out what I have here left. Okay, so what I have here left is 2.5 inches. So I'm going to share these 2.5 inches into 2 halves. Okay, into 2 halves is going to give me 1.2 inches, 1.2 inches. So I'm going to mark 1.2 inches here. Okay, I'm going to mark 1.2 inches, then also take 1.2 inches here as well. Can you see what I'm doing? Down to the waistline, my waist circumference of 28 inches divided by 2 is going to give me 14 inches, which is this point here. Can you see that? Then what I have here left is 2.5 inches. Okay, so I'll also take out my seam allowance of 1.2 inches, 1.2 inches. Can you see what I'm doing? 1.2 inches. Okay, then down to the hip line, my hip circumference of 37 inches divided by 2 is going to give me 18.5 inches, which is this point here. Okay, then I'm going to measure out what I have here left. So what I have here left is 3.5 inches. Okay, and 3.5 inches divided by 2 halves is going to give me 1.7 inches. Okay, so I'll be taking out 1.7 inches, which is this point here and this point here. Okay, I'll be taking out my seam allowance of 1.7 inches at the hip line. Then I'll also connect from the hip point down to the dress hem line. I'll be marking 1.5 inches as my seam allowance. Okay, just the way you see me doing it here. After that, I will take it to my sewing machine to stitch along the marked seam line. Also, I've gone ahead to cut out for my sleeve. Okay, so I'll also go ahead to fix the sleeves. Okay, so guys, here I've gone ahead to fix the sleeves. Okay, and the next thing to do here is to fix the neckline cape or collar. And to do that, what I'm going to do here is I'll open up the zip, then fold my neckline to notch the center point. I'll also go ahead and measure my neckline. And what I have here is 9.5 inches. So I'll go ahead and draft on my pattern paper. And on my pattern paper, I'm going to draw a straight line, which serves as the neckline. Okay. Then the next thing to do here, my 9.5 inches, I'm going to divide it into 2 halves. Okay. So what I have here is 4.7 inches. Okay. So I'm going to measure out 4.7 inches. Which is this point here. Okay, and for the collar length I'll be using 3.5 inches. Then at the collar length line I'll also measure out 4.7 inches. Mark my point, then add extra 1.5 inches to it, okay, as my collar extension, just the way you see me doing it here in this video. Then the next thing to do here is at my neckline here, I'll move up here by 1/2 inch. Okay, then make a curve. Also connect it to my 1.5 inches point. So guys, can you see what I have here? Then I'll go ahead and cut this out. Okay, so guys, after cutting, this is what I have. I will be using this plain satin fabric to cut for my collar. Okay, so guys, here I went ahead to trace out my collar pattern on my fabric as to cut it out, just the way you see me doing it here in this video. Do well to subscribe to this channel, like, comment and share with your friends. And after cutting, this is what I have. So I'll take it to my sewing machine to stitch up the side hemline. Okay, and after stitching up, I took it to my pressing iron to iron it, just as seen here. Okay, and the next thing to do here is to fix it to the neckline of my dress pattern, just the way you see me doing it here in this video, to the front neckline notched point here. Okay, this is how I'm going to fix my cape. I'll take it to my sewing machine to stitch this part up. Okay, so guys, after stitching up, this is what I have. Okay, can you see what I have here? Then I'm going to zip up the back pattern. Can you see what I have here? Okay, can you see what I have for my neckline? Then I'll go ahead and pipe my neckline, this rough surface. Okay, I'll go ahead and pipe it in. Can you see how neat my neck collar came out? Can you see what I have here? This is for the back pattern. And finally guys, this is my end result. Do well to hit on the subscription button, subscribe to this channel, like, comment and share with your friends. And if you have any question regarding to this tutorial, drop it on the comment section. I'll be there to attend to you. Thank you guys for watching and see you on my next video tutorial.